Hi, hi, and welcome to Sci-Fi fans. And I'd just really like to say a big thank you to everybody following me on YouTube. I've reached that goal of 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing, and I really do appreciate everyone that follows me on YouTube. I don't take anything for granted in life. I know how easy it can be taken away, and yeah, I keep my feet firmly on the ground. So I thought we could talk about the best trilogy of films. So, what is the best trilogy of films? And would you consider Star Wars to be the best trilogy or Lord of the Rings? I was thinking about this the other day, and I feel that one of the best trilogy of films that there is now is the Ghostbuster films. Admittedly, we had the Ghostbusters 2016, but with what they did with Afterlife by basically obliterating that from existence. So they realised that 2016's Ghostbusters was a little bit of a mistake, and they totally ignored it in the remake or the rehash that was Afterlife. So I think the Ghostbusters trilogy is worth shouting about. It's certainly one of the most enjoyable trilogy of films there is. I would have loved to have said, "Hi, Amy." I would love to have said the Aliens series of films would have stood a chance, but there's only two decent Alien films, and they were the first two. And then the third film, I think, is maturing really nicely, to be honest. And what David Finch went through with the process of making Alien 3 cannot be underestimated. He had so many plans and ideas that he wanted to do with that particular film, but Fox just kept on meddling with his plans. They just didn't give him the free rein. Whether or not that's because it was early in his career, I don't know. But I do feel that had they've given David Finch a free license to make an Alien film, then Alien 3 would have been something quite outstanding. So, what are the others then to consider? Obviously, I've mentioned Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, um, the just trying to think of other trilogy of films. There's been a whole load, isn't there? Got the Iron Man trilogy, or would you class the Iron Man series of films as a trilogy, or would you just because they're part of the MCU just bundle them all into that same umbrella not and not class them? Don't know. Leave that to you to decide. And yeah, tell me what is your favourite trilogy of films? I think personally the best trilogy has to be The Lord of the Rings. There isn't a single fault in any of those three films, and they certainly bring the book to life in Tolkien's vision. That I think they really did. Peter Jackson said on many occasions that he wasn't going to influence the films with his thoughts and opinions. He was going to do his best to bring Tolkien's book to life, and I think he done that. I definitely think that he done that. And the three films are, for me, the best trilogy. So yeah, do get involved. Do let me know what you think is your best series of films. Now, what I would like to also ask is, how are you and how's your week going? I've had an extremely busy week this week. Work kind of took over yesterday. That's why I wasn't live yesterday. But I've reached a milestone, as I say, here on YouTube of 1,000 subscribers, and I really do appreciate that. So if you're watching me on TikTok, then do check out the YouTube channel as well. I'm sure you'll enjoy the content there as you do on TikTok. Now, we've got to talk Ahsoka. The Star Wars show has come to a conclusion, and I don't know about you, but I get really kind of frustrated with all of these streaming services because for me, 8 episodes is not a season. Season would be 12, possibly. I long for the days when you'd have a season of a show that actually goes on for like 15, 16, 22 episodes. So, what's my favourite Star Wars film? This is coming from Johnny Coyle. Johnny Cool. My favourite Star Wars film would probably be Return of the Jedi. I think it's a nice, satisfactory conclusion to the series of films. What's your favourite film? What's your favourite Star Wars film? My favourite science fiction film is Aliens. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm a massive Alien geek fan. Um, but yeah, I would probably go with Return of the Jedi. I think it wraps up the story nicely. So yeah, Ahsoka. What do we think of Ahsoka? It's got mixed reviews. A lot of people are hating the show, and I can appreciate why people are disliking Ahsoka because it isn't going to be for everybody. It's quite a slow paced thing. And if you haven't watched Rebels and what's the other one, Clone Wars, then you might not be up to speed with who or what Ahsoka is. Now, I haven't watched them all the way through because they just didn't really grab me. I think out of the two comic book series or animated series, Rebels is probably the better one. I prefer Rebels over Clone Wars. That's just my personal opinion. You obviously are entitled to yours, and you probably think differently as well, which is fine. Um, so yeah, they bring it to a conclusion, and in some respects, I think Thorne come across as a reasonably competent leader and villain, and in other aspects, I really kind of felt that the writing of the character was let down. And I'll give an example of this. And these are going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't seen Ahsoka episode 8, then prepare to be spoiled. This is to do with the decisions that he makes with tackling Ahsoka. Now, I think he could have left whatever planet it was on much earlier, and that would have saved him an awful lot of bother. But he chose not to leave. He wanted to take Ahsoka on. And again, there's various aspects and decisions that he made were just plain dumb. I mean, for example, when they're battling up the staircases and Ahsoka can take one swipe and bring down a bulkhead and block the door, it kind of begs the question as to why Thrawn didn't actually do that in the first place. To block off her entrance to the stairs, maybe trap her on the stairs and then send down stormtroopers so they can kind of do a pincer movement and attack her from front and behind. The fact that they were almost ready with the cargo and he didn't just turn around and say, do you know what, we've got enough here, let's go to our destination and do what we needed to do. So I do think that kind of let the character down and showed a little bit of poor writing. All right, cool. Someone comments. Oh, that's been filtered. So yours is Revenge of the Sith. That's fair enough. That's absolutely fine. Yes, I do feel that they had a lot of potential with Ahsoka, and they also could have expanded the universe in much better detail than what they did. I think the underlining, new word there. I think the underlining issue is these shows are only 8 episodes, so they have to rush everything. The only show that I think has really pulled it off within an 8 show season is Andor. And again, I found that a bit slow, but I understood why it was slow because they were trying to do something totally different within the Star Wars universe. With Ahsoka, I think they probably should have made this a 12 episode season, given the characters a little bit more development and not rushed it so much. It seems like they've got this ending that they just need to rush to, and because they're rushing to get to the finale, they're making silly writing decisions and the characters just lose a little bit of coherency. So we end up with the end of Ahsoka being stuck in this universe with Sabine and Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller gets away. And again, this comes down to poor storytelling and writing. I mean, if Thrawn is supposed to be a really great leader and a real fearsome adversary, then why did he let Ezra Miller get on board a shuttle and just disappear? Because he would notice that that shuttle was leaving the main fleet. They'd pick it up on radar. They'd do all sorts of various things. Or again, this comes down to it being such a short episode. Perhaps if it's 12 episodes, then one of those episodes that they could have used would have been showing him how he actually left the ship without being detected, or maybe he was detected and he had to put up some sort of fight. But they could have explained that a lot more rather than just have him turn up with the fleet. Because let's face it, some people get lost when they're just going to the shops. So how would you navigate coming back from a universe that you've never been in before, suddenly pick up a fleet that you didn't realise it existed? You know, how would you know where it was? How would you know who to contact? Again, unless Hera had sent him those details via a coded message. But it just kind of shows that I think these programs that Disney and that are making for these streaming services are being rushed. And that's a shame because they've got so much potential. Coming up next, we've got Loki Season 2. I haven't seen the episodes yet, and I am kind of sitting on the fence as to whether or not I want to, because they just seem to be so formulaic these days with the shows. Loki's going to be, he's not the villain that we all kind of respect from the MCU. He's totally changed. And again, this comes down to the writing of the character. I will probably give it a go at some point. So what are you looking forward to? What are you watching on the streaming services? Anything new coming out that you feel like watching? And don't forget, we're also talking about trilogies of films. So let me know what your favourite trilogies of films are. Would you class the first 3 Indiana Jones films, for example, as a trilogy, even though you've got 4 and 5? Do you draw the line at the third film, or do you kind of think, well, okay, this is like a quadrilogy or whatever 5 films would be called as well? So, yeah, I mean, do give me your comments, give us a question, engage, let me know what you think. And I would also say, if you're watching me here on TikTok, I am also streaming live on YouTube too. The podcast this week is all about the X-Men. So if you have got, if you're interested in the podcast, I do a podcast every Monday. And this week we'll be discussing the first 2 X-Men films. Now that's another trilogy that I just realised that we could talk about, and that was the original X-Men films. Did you know that X-Men from 2000 was actually the first Marvel film that they made? Although it's not part of the MCU, it's widely recognised as the first film from Marvel Studios within the Marvel Universe. So I think they probably missed the trick there, because if that was their first film, then obviously they went on to make Iron Man, which was where the MCU really started. Perhaps they should have incorporated the X-Men as well. Who knows? Sometimes these decisions are made for various reasons that we just don't know about. Could be copyright, could be the fact that they just thought that they would start again, kind of soft reboot with Iron Man. Who knows? So, yeah, what do you think of the original X-Men series of films? And while we're talking about X-Men, Disney are going to be doing the animated series. They're going to expand that. It's called X-Men 97. And Lego done a couple of minifigures based on this series. They've released a collectible series of minifigures, taken them from upcoming Marvel shows. And they've reproduced, I think it was Storm and Wolverine with Beast to celebrate X-Men 97. So what do you think that the Disney making an X-Men animated show is going to be as good as what we've got already? Now, I would have some concerns that they're going to try and make it a modern show. Hi everyone that's joined on TikTok. Yeah, I would argue that if they keep it to the original themes from the 1990s, then they're on for a winner. But if they're going to start trying to modify the characters like they have for the MCU, then they're not so. Right, come here. So I've just been joined by the cat. He won't leave me alone. And now that I've picked him up, he's probably going to run off. In fact, yep, there he goes. So, yeah, I've been going back. I went back to the animated series of X-Men because that was one of the my first introduction into the X-Men, really, when it came out in the 90s. And I'm really enjoying it. I love the fact that I love the fact that you can watch this entire show the entirety of the show in one place. Something that I have found with all these streaming services is sometimes the shows get splintered. One of my favourite anime cartoons is Yu-Gi-Oh, for example. I think it's a fantastic story. I love the first season. There's about 5 or 6 seasons in total, but you can't watch all 5 or 6 seasons because at one point they were on Netflix. Now I think Netflix only has the first season, and nobody seems to have picked up about. They've not really picked up the other seasons anywhere else, so it's a little bit disappointing. Jay Spence, we're just talking about trilogies, films, X-Men, Star Wars, Ahsoka, and general pop culture stuff like that. So do get involved, do leave a comment, and tell me what your favourite trilogy is. Is it Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? I thought perhaps we could include Ghostbusters. Then there's also X-Men. Jaws. How many Jaws films is there? Would you class Jaws as a trilogy? Then you've got, was it Jurassic World? The original Jurassic World films. Was there 3 or 4 of those? Not too sure. Can't remember. Certainly a lot more with the Jurassic World Dominion being the more recent one. So Jurassic Park. Okay. Yeah, it started off Jurassic Park, didn't it? And then they remade it into Jurassic World. If my memory serves me right. So yeah, we're just chatting films. This would usually be the Friday night chill and chat, but yesterday I ended up doing a 15.5 hour shift at work, which was why I wasn't on. So I thought I'd come on tonight and just make up for it. And in the meantime, since yesterday, actually reached over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which really pleased about and really grateful for everyone following me on YouTube. So that's cool. Blue Streak is the best film. All right, what's that about then? I'll have to have a look at that. So I can do this, can't I? Because let's have a look. Was that something naughty? Martin Lawrence. Okay. Streak. 1999. All right. So it was a 1999 film, goes on for an hour and a half. Stars Martin Lawrence, right? Oh, Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson, I think, was also in Stargirl, which I didn't find too bad. It was on Amazon Plus, or Amazon. It is Amazon, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Is he related to the other Wilson, Luke Wilson? Owen Wilson, isn't he? He's the brother or something. Is he older brother?
He's a brother.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Off-screen Oracle's just piped up for a change. We've missed her, haven't we? Off-screen Oracle. You gonna give some facts tonight there, or are you just going to go back to bed?
Probably go back to bed.
You're just going to go back to bed. Right. Yeah, Stargirl. Stargirl got cancelled. There's 2 seasons of it, and it's harmless. There's nothing really special to write home about, but if you just want a couple of hours just to sit and chill and not think too hard, then it's one of them kind of series.
There's actually 3 brothers, and all 3 of them are actors.
All right, so there's
Owen, Luke, and Andrew.
Right, how old is Andrew then? Because we've who's the oldest?
Right, hang on. Luke is 52.
Right, so Luke Wilson's 52.
Let me just check it out.
Owen Wilson, how old is he?
Just trying to find that out for you now.
Okay.
Owen is 54. 54.
Right. So he's oldest then so far.
And Andrew is 59.
All right, Andrew Wilson's 59, Luke Wilson's 42, did you say?
Yep.
42. And his brother's Owen Wilson's 40.
Andrew was trying to see what he was actually acted in.
Okay.
Time Trap.
Time Truck.
Time Trap.
Time Trap.
Known for With It in 2009. Time Trap 2017.
Oh, yeah, Andrew Wilson, got a picture of him here, yeah.
And Idiocy in 2006.
Right. So, Time Trap. I didn't realise there was 3 Wilson brothers. Oh, Time Trap, that's... Yeah, we watched that. Time Trap, I think I might have done a review on that. Yeah, I never realised that was his brother.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so he's not exactly a prolific actor, not like the other one. Owen Wilson. Paul Daniels. Right. Okay, so yeah, 3 Wilson brothers. Time Trap wasn't too bad. It was basically they discover a cave where they find in the centre of it time seems to stand still, but once you get into a certain part of the cave, you can't really get out. It's very difficult. It's like a maze kind of thing. And I actually found it reasonably enjoyable. It was not, I don't think it was the world's best film, but it's not the world's worst. And it's currently sitting at a 6.2 ranking on the IMDb database. So, watched it a couple of years ago. I have done a review on YouTube, I think, about it. And I'll just bring up the synopsis. There's a little bit of trivia there for you. Right, so a professor enters a cave and goes missing. Some of his students go looking for him and they get trapped in the cave as well. And that's where they kind of discover that time travels at a different rate because they get, I think, to the centre of the cave and there's an opening and a way out. And that's where they see the stars and sun set and rise really, really quickly. So it goes along the basis, I think, that for every minute that they're within this cave, then it's like a month or a year that goes past. And they do eventually get rescued, but they end up being like thousands of years into the future, with no way of getting back. Once you're in this cave, it, as I say, the time travel element of it is just a one-way trip. It wasn't too bad. The acting could probably be a bit better than what it was. I don't know why there's a reference to the Goonies. So, yeah, so this is one review that somebody's put up about it, which I'll just read. So, a solid premise that chugged its way to a strong finish. And I think that's probably a fair description. So, this could have had a better start if time was taken to develop the characters. And again, this is what I'm saying about the short series that we get on the streaming services. They don't have time to develop the characters. It would have been a lot easier to be empathetic to their plight and be drawn in deeper as events unfolded. Nevertheless, given what the budget for the film was, I can understand why it was lacking in that respect. For the most part, the acting was decent and the best actors seemed to have smaller roles. Yeah, from what I can remember, I would agree with that. Olivia Drakshivin, who played Vivi's 13-year-old who exuded the confidence of a mature adult. Olivia delivered a nice performance. Max Wright was spectacular as Furby, and I wish his character was featured more in the movie because it would have brightened up some of the less finer moments in this movie when you thought it might get bolted down by a weak script. They created some unrealistic reactions to what was happening at that moment. I can't say more without being a spoiler, so I will just say I liked this one a lot. I liked the fresh and unique approach to this sci-fi genre. The effects were exceptional for a movie of such a low budget, definitely worth watching. Yeah, I'd say it's possibly right.
There's actually quite a few films that have been made.
No official drink. I haven't just started the stream. I've been going for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Yes, dear.
There's quite a few films that are trilogies.
Right. Come on, give us a trilogy then.
Okay.
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy,
No.
Volume 3. That's a really good film. The Volume 3. Yeah, it lands. It's a little bit off key at some points, but it does land. And as I'll go along with people that have recommended.
Okay, so you've got the
All right. Okay.
the Hannibal Lecter trilogy,
Right.
Silence of the Lamb,
Yeah.
Hannibal, and the Red Dragon.
Right.
Um,
Was there a Da Vinci Code trilogy?
I think there was two, and they were possibly going to make the third, but I don't think
Right.
they did in the end.
Thank you very much, official Trink Mapper.
Then you've got the
Thank
Dead
you.
trilogy,
Which trilogy?
The Dead, Night of the Living Dead,
Oh, right, Night of the Living
Dawn
Dead.
of the Dead, and Day of the Dead.
Yeah, but I think with the Night of the Living Dead, didn't they just remake the first one?
No, I don't think they did.
No.
Then the Millennium trilogy,
Right.
which again, with some I've not heard of.
I'm getting a load of trilogies now, which is great.
The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, The
Right.
Girl Who Played with Fire, and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, I had heard of that trilogy. But now is that the books or the films?
They're the books.
Right, because
they're the films the books made into films.
Right, was The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo not the first film of the trilogy then?
No, it's the last.
Right.
So
All right.
you've got The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest was
Yeah.
2009.
Right.
The Girl Who Played with Fire was early 2010.
Right.
And The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was late 2010.
Oh, okay. And are they the English speaking ones? Because they weren't all. They started off
I
in.
can't see on the link that I've got at the moment.
Yeah, if you have a look for the original Girl
Oh
with
no, the original. This was the other one because it's got Swede's got a great movie adaptation because the English one was still waiting to be transferred.
Right, yeah.
Translated.
Right.
Then you've got the Blade trilogy.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. When you say to right, let's name a decent trilogy. There's quite a few actually. When you think about it, the Blade trilogy wasn't too bad, was it? Quite enjoyed that.
Then you've also got Mighty Ducks trilogy.
Yeah, I'm getting loads of trilogies now. So
Austin Power trilogy.
True.
Mad Max trilogy.
Yep.
The Infernal Affairs trilogy.
So what's the Infernal Affairs trilogy then?
You've got Infernal Affairs, Infernal Affairs 2, and Infernal Affairs End Inferno 3.
Right.
It looks like it could possibly be a kind of kung fu type.
Okay. So what's your favourite trilogy then? Off-screen Oracle.
It has to be Lord of the Rings.
I knew he was going to say that. Lord of the Rings.
Terminator 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, but they made more than that though.
I know, but I think most people just think that's 3.
Terminator. Would you class that as a trilogy of films, given the fact that they made how many trilogy films did they make? How many Terminator films? Because again, for a lot of people, there's only 2 Terminator films, and that's 1 and 2. The rest of the other films, I did hear an argument, and it's quite valid, that some of the later films in the Terminator series actually take place in a different timeline. And I believe there was actually a deleted scene from Terminator 2 which would give validation to that claim that the other Terminator films were now in a different timeline because they altered things in T2. Again, there's rumours of Cameron coming back for another Terminator film. Do you think he should make another Terminator film, or is it time to let the Terminator franchise die? Get involved. Tell me what you think. Yes, sorry, Oracle?
Yeah, then there was the Naked Gun trilogies.
Was there only 3 Naked Gun trilogies?
Yeah. The Naked Gun.
Naked Gun 2.5, then Naked Gun 33 and a quarter or something. 33 and a third. They're funny films. I love that kind of humour.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, but they've done more since then.
Yeah.
They've done about another 3.
Well, you said
Thank
that,
you.
but then you've got Spider-Man.
My maths
How
too.
many Spider-Man films did they make?
Now, that's a good question, because you had the Tobey Maguire trilogy of Spider-Man, then you had Andrew Garfield, who only made 2 Spider-Man films, and then we've got Tobey Maguire.
And then you had the original one.
It's not Tobey Maguire, is it? Tobey Maguire was the first one.
Christopher.
Are you talking Superman? Or...
Oh no, that was Superman.
Because Spider-Man was Tobey Maguire, then Andrew Garfield, and the latest guy. His name's... Come on, who's playing the Spider-Man at the moment? So you've also got the Wolverine trilogy of films, because you had X-Men Origins Wolverine, then you had the Wolverine, didn't you? And then the last Wolverine film as well. Tom Holland, yeah. So how many Spider-Man films has Tom Holland made? He's made 3, hasn't he? Because it was... but then he's also been in the MCU's other films as well. Yeah. So would you say the Tom Holland Spider-Man films makes a good trilogy? You've seen those with me.
No, I'm not sure. I will be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because there's so many like Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
It becomes same old.
You reckon?
Yeah, I do.
Right.
I'd like them to bring something out that's new.
Right. So, but what about the last Spider-Man film where you had the multiverse involved? Is that not new enough?
It was slightly different, but again, it was so many. It's a little bit of the same old, because it's like he's still got to fight the same characters.
Right.
But yeah, it's like you've got Star Wars prequel. The 3 of those are classed as a trilogy. But
right.
Are they or aren't they? Because you've then got the other 3 that go with it.
Yeah, okay.
Then you've got Die Hard.
Yeah, there's more than 3 Die Hard films.
I don't believe me, I know.
6 or 7 of those.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, but there's 5 Pirates of the Caribbean films.
I know, I'm just going with this. Aliens, and Alien 3.
Yeah, but then you got Alien Resurrection. Don't
blame me when it says them. 3 Colours trilogy.
Right, haven't heard of that one.
No, I've never heard of that one.
You got the there is a set of trilogies, set of 3 films. I think the first one is Unbreakable. I'm not sure what the second one was called, but the third one was called Glass, and it stars Samuel Jackson, Bruce Willis. Yeah.
Then you've got the Godfather trilogy.
How could I forget the Godfather trilogy? That is probably one of the best trilogy of films, and the time that they took to make it as well. So each film with a decent gap between it to tell a different story of the same family.
Back to the Future.
So, yeah, Back to the Future. That's another trilogy that I forgot. So if I could put a poll, can I put a poll on it? I'll probably cut myself off now. No. Flip mirror. So come, what is the best trilogy of films out of The Godfather, Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man? Should we leave it there?
Yes, up to you.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. Can I put a poll on for YouTube? Probably not. Banners, brand, private. No, can't do that. So we're going just over half an hour now, and I'm probably going to wrap this up in a minute. So get your comments in, and we can answer your questions. Next week, I will be live at the usual time on a Friday rather than Saturday, provided I don't do another 15.5-hour shift. Yeah, and we'll do an update on the box office. I might even try and get to go to the cinema at some point and do a review of something new. I'm going to end up with my final thoughts on Ahsoka. Now, initially, when this show started, I wasn't a great fan of it. I found it quite slow, and the characters just weren't doing a lot apart from standing there looking at each other, which I thought was a little bit silly, really, because it just seemed like dead space. But I spoke to a good friend called Monty Harris, or Montgomery Harris, and we were talking about it in general, and he kind of highlighted a few things that I hadn't given any consideration for. So, and that was essentially, you don't have to have two characters talking for them to say, for the body language, and that should convey conversation as well. So I kind of rethought about what they were trying to do and how they were trying to do it with Ahsoka, and I thought I'd give it another chance, which I did. And looking at it from a different perspective, if you like, I suppose also with slightly lowered expectations, I enjoyed it. I started to enjoy it more. Now, one thing that I did ask myself is, if I enjoyed Andor so much, which I did, then with a similar pace for Ahsoka, why was I finding it not as good or not as entertaining? And that was really the reason why I thought I'd give it a go, see it, watch it all the way through, and see what happens. Now we have the conclusion, and Thrawn. I think the show does lack good quality writing. I think also that they're trying to do something that we haven't seen in a Star Wars show or a Star Wars film before, but it's poorly executed. I think the ideas behind Ahsoka are good. I like the fact that they've incorporated Anakin's Force Ghost, and we had the realm between realm. Is it in a couple of episodes back? We had the world between worlds. So I like what they are trying to do with Ahsoka and the Mandoverse as it is, but I do feel that they're starting to just lose a little bit of the quality with the writing, and yeah, I think that's what's letting it down at the moment. And they're not thinking about the characters properly. Thrawn, there is a trilogy of books. I think is it Thrawn, Heir to the Empire or something? I haven't read the books. I probably would. Might get around to it. I think what they're trying to do is rush it rather than just let it go through a natural course and develop the characters properly, and maybe give them a little bit of fleshing them out a bit for those that haven't seen the previous cartoons, Clone Wars and Rebels. So if they were to take their time with it, and I think the mistake in this season was possibly having Thrawn from episode 6. I think maybe what they should have done was left him until the very end as a big reveal kind of thing. Maybe with Ezra as well, who knows. Then it would give them time to develop the characters and think about what they're writing. Because as I say, Thrawn makes some ridiculous mistakes that I don't think any other leader would have made. Going into season 2, then I think, and this is just something with Star Wars in general, and even the MCU with Disney Plus at the moment, I think they need to cut down the amount of content that they're doing and focus more on quality, and also take their time, sit down. If they reduce the content that they're doing, then they won't have to produce something every 6 months, because it goes Star Wars, Marvel, Star Wars, Marvel, Star Wars, Marvel. If they break that cycle and take a chance by not releasing a Star Wars show, say for 12 months, then they can have the time to write down, to go through the scripts, flesh out the characters, and question the scripts as well. So, like with Thrawn and the stairs, somebody should be able to say in that writing room, yeah, but if they've shutting these stairs off on their way out, on the way up, then why doesn't Thrawn do that in the first place to stop them from progressing? Also, as the ending with Ezra turning up with a ship, they could question that in that writing room. Say, well, why is he doing that? Does that make any sense? Then they'll just be able to flesh out these stories more and flesh out the characters in a better way, which I think is what they're missing. So, yeah, I'd like to see them reduce the amount of content that they do and maybe improve the quality of the storytelling with these shows. And that's where I'm going to end this live. Thank you so much for everyone that's joined me on here. Thank you for your comments. And a massive thank you for everybody on YouTube that's been following me on the YouTube channel as well. If you're unsure where it is or what it is, it's just simply Sci-Fi Fans on YouTube. Don't forget the podcast goes out every Monday as well, and that's Sci-Fi Fans. Sci-Fi Fans, the podcast, is available on pretty much every podcasting platform. I do try and make it as accessible as possible. And thank you. Just thanks for your time. Thank you for your support. And I'll be back next Friday to discuss the latest trends in pop culture and cinema. So take care of yourselves. Don't forget to check out my latest videos. I will be getting back to posting the usual stuff on TikTok as well. So yeah, thank you very much. I will see you next week. Take care.